Hello and good morning, Herschel Mayers. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Very good in these tiring circumstances, but all right.
Absolutely. I believe that the situation we are all facing is known as receiving a hospital pass.
Something like that. Something like
you know,
that.
in rugby, a hospital pass is when somebody throws the ball to you and five people are just about to smash into you. So here we are. what
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I've got some questions. I'd like to get your insight, obviously years of experience, and it'll be nice to understand what your thoughts are. So the first question is around innovation, okay? And the question is as follows. Can you tell me a little bit about innovation? And sorry, so the actual topic is how to, what's it? How to build an impactful business. Okay, so that's the topic. So if we look at innovation as a starting point, there's two angles. One is the original innovation and vision of the founders. That's a brilliant idea that can carry on for a long time. But then the other one is a more methodical formula for creating innovation by allowing those that work in the business to be innovative and actually tapping into that. One is a research and development department, and others is maybe a portion of your time, but we'll consider everything. So what are your thoughts on innovation, please?
All right. Well, Adi, I suppose if I just go back to when we started Discovery Life, which was in fact the year 2000, we actually started the company. But the philosophy behind starting the company, in our case, in Discovery's case, was to base it on product differentiation. Okay, so that was our philosophy, to have a product that was unique in the marketplace. So, how we started was to analyze what was going wrong with the current marketplace, okay, and how we're going to differentiate ourselves in that space, okay. So when we go back and we look at what we've actually done over that period, we went through every single product and redesigned it to try and distinguish ourselves from our competitors. So if we look at I'm just thinking of just a couple of examples that really differentiated ourselves. The one example was the dread disease product. And I'm going back, as I say, 20 years or so. But the dread disease products that were available at that time just paid out for, 10, 20 cases, very, very strict definitions of actual cases, and they paid out 100% of the benefit. But you had to be, as I say, pretty badly off to actually, claim a benefit. So we actually redesigned that product, and we actually looked at all events that could occur to you, and we decided to actually pay out based on what we called severity levels. So we had a severity A, which was 100%, severity B, which is 75%, C, 50, 25, right down to ultimately 5%. But we expanded the definitions that we covered by a multiple of the actual events that were covered in the marketplace. So that was a totally new environment that we decided to actually invent. Okay, that was perhaps maybe step one in perhaps the overall focus. The other area that we also decided to focus and actually perhaps this is looking at what Discovery Health was doing at that point in time. Discovery Health actually started about 8 years before Discovery Life started. So they had a bit of a track record. What they were doing at that point in time, they had the Vitality program. Okay. So, the Vitality program rewards you for looking after your health and, giving you incentives. So, well, what we decided to do was to say, perhaps the problem with life insurance generally is that you take out a policy when you apply for it, and your state of health is actually fixed at that point in time. There's no change depending if you look after yourself, you keep on getting fit, and etc. So we decided to actually change that to say, we're going to reward you continuously for actually looking after your health on an ongoing basis. Okay. So we started by giving a discount on the policy to say, if you stay healthy, you get that discount. And if you continue to stay at that healthy level, you can keep that discount. Okay. So if you don't stay healthy, you can actually end up paying a little bit more over time. But if you can stay at that healthy level by looking after your weight, looking after your fitness, stopping smoking, etc., a whole host of events, you can actually stay at that lower rate. So those were. I'm just thinking back on just some of the events that really affected us.
And the messaging to the market at that stage, which was a new messaging, were you quite upfront? This is what differentiates us. You will get rewarded for X. And do you think that is what grabbed the market? They were like, this is great. I mean, of course, I'm going to want to be healthier. Yeah, I can reduce what I'm paying. I can get better benefits. Do you think that was the thing? Was the messaging up front was so innovative that you guys just punched in with that, and that's why it took like a wildfire?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do think, obviously, we were up front with the actual messaging. I mean, the reality, I suppose, we did focus, I suppose, on staying healthy, which is really up to the individual to actually.
But everyone says they're going to. If you give somebody, you say, I'll give you 4 lollies if you eat the first one slowly. Of course, I'll eat the first one slowly.
No, absolutely. No, everyone does think they're going to stay healthy. I mean, you're 100% right. Okay. Ultimately, perhaps not everyone does stay healthy. I mean, that is the fact of it. Okay. But everyone says, I can stay healthy, and it's up to me to actually stay healthy.
And then just to add to what you're saying, I think it's very important for the business to understand that people need assistance and holding hands in staying healthier. And so what will happen is you would introduce products. It's like, hold on a second, I'll give you an example. Let me hold your hand. If you shop in this healthy section of the supermarket, that will assist you to get healthy. And they go, oh, that's a nice idea. So you want to be able to preempt and make it easier for your clients to have a better experience. Yeah. That's innovation.
Absolutely. But Adi, I think what's also important, I mean, and perhaps this is, what we could have done better, and trying to look forward. But we did, as I say, we focused on perhaps people staying healthy, okay? But the important thing for this was that it wasn't only for the fitness, the guy who runs a marathon or whatever, okay? This was for everyone. A guy who had diabetes, a guy who had heart conditions or whatever. This program was for him as well. So even if perhaps he was loaded, you get loaded for, various events. So even if you were loaded, okay, and you still looked after your health, okay, perhaps at a lower level, okay, but you still stopped smoking, you looked after your weight, you went to gym, etc. It was still fantastic for that type of person as well.
I like it. That's a personalized experience, which is what people want. They don't want to be put into a general category. Okay, I love what you're saying, but I've got a lot of extra things and we don't have that much time. So if I may,
sure,
I'll jump onto the other thought pattern and thought process. Let's change direction slightly. So I believe that building an impactful business has very much to do with those that work in the business and how to get them to go on a journey with you. And that's, that you really have to think about that. You don't want just people leaving and then the IP is gone and so on. So I guess my question is, what has it been like to see people grow with the business, establish for their families and reach their own dreams?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously that's a crucially important question. I mean, the first thing is to paint this vision that that we're trying to achieve as a company. Okay, so we're painting this vision that people can look after their health, can be maintain their health on an ongoing basis, and if people buy into that, okay, that is the most important thing. Okay, so once people have bought into that concept of looking after your health on an ongoing basis, they continue to integrate into that overall vision, okay? And once they integrate into that overall vision, then they buy into continuously develop along those lines, okay? And that's what I think that's what we've actually tried to achieve. So most of the guys who've been around, if you take Discovery as an example, or Vitality in the UK, they've actually bought into to that concept, okay? They agree with that, they buy into it, and they continuously develop along that, along those lines. And what we found is that those people, as I say, as individuals, continue to actually grow in the business. I mean, just to give one example, Discovery Life today, one of the actuaries who started in Discovery, I can't remember how old he was. He might have been, 25 at that point in time. I mean, today he's the CEO of the company. Okay, so he's grown from being a young actuary in the company. Okay, he was, as I say, doing the very basic actuarial work. Okay, and he bought into it. He agreed with it. It was what he wanted to achieve. And today, as I say, he's grown fantastically well into the business, and now he's the CEO of the company.
And how does it make you feel to have been part of the success of someone like that? That's my point is, think of the impact that him and everyone else that has grown in the business as well, the ripple effect for their families and their communities and everyone that relies on them. So my point is, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, it makes me fantastic. It makes me feel fantastic, As I say, I mean, this was just one guy, a young guy. And I mean, for him personally, this has been absolutely brilliant for him.
Beautiful.
He's done fantastically well.
Very nice. Very nice. A lot of satisfaction, especially when you put the effort in and you see that others are being rewarded in the business. Okay, this is a tricky question. So I'm trying to decide which question to ask first. I'm gonna ask them both, and then you can decide which one you want to answer first and second. So the first question is, what was one of the toughest days, one of your toughest days in the office? Okay, that's question number one. And question number two is, please tell me a little bit about going for the impossible.
Or going for the impossible. Well, okay. I suppose going for the impossible was, I'm going back to perhaps right at the beginning, what I said, we tried to really change the mindset of the insurance industry.
Yeah, but even now, the markets that you're going into, to enter that market is going for the impossible. Who do you think you're? Okay, you're a successful business in South Africa, but to be a global success, that's also going for the impossible. So I think that you're...
Absolutely. I mean, as I say, to just going back and saying, right, your life insurance premium is dependent on your state of health. Okay, which is totally unusual in the UK or the international markets. Okay, and South African markets, and that whole concept, as I say, is very difficult. I remember just in the UK when we just started linking the policy to health, we had to go to the regulator to make sure that what we were doing actually made sense. Okay. And that's obviously it's not so easy to actually get that point across. To say, you normally take out a life policy, that's the premium you pay, and that's fixed for the term of the policy. Now we're saying, no, hang on, that's your starting point, and your premium's going to, flex depending on, how you behave over that period of time.
Some tough conversations.
Yeah. So that's definitely not easy. And I mean, if we look at our history and what we've actually achieved, going to other markets in around the world, I mean, that is a very, very tough discussion to actually have.
And so when you're sitting the night before and you're having a meeting about, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sitting with the regulator. What is the mindset of the motivation to motivate people? This is the focus. This is how we're going to handle it. That's really what this is about, how does one achieve the success of being able to motivate those around you to go for the impossible the night before?
Well, I think what you've got to try and see from the regulator's point of view, okay, is that this is really in everyone's interest, okay? I mean, everyone thinks that they can be healthy, okay? They can look after their health on an ongoing basis. Yes, they may not do it over the long, that they may not actually achieve it, but it's certainly up to them that they've got all the facilities, all the tools, all the, the actual benefits to actually achieve it, but they can actually get those cheaper premiums. So over the longer term, if you do maintain your health, you can pay significantly lower premiums.
I love what you're saying.
That's what we have to get across to the regulator.
Well, that's the thing. So I think you've hit at the heart of it. Is when, in my opinion, from my take home, is when going for the impossible. If you truly believe that those that you're interacting with are going to benefit from your offering, is to know that and get that point across. It's kind of like when you phone a client and say, well, this is what I've got for you. You feel like you're actually bothering them. You're going to come across as if you're bothering them. But if you truly believe that you're doing them a favor by actually letting them know about it, then that's how you're going to come across.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, just going back, perhaps ultimately people don't actually look after their health on an ongoing basis. But what we've actually found, just going back a little bit to actually our experience, okay, in Discovery and Vitality, okay, that the majority or the majority of people, okay, they may not think that they can be healthy or something, but the majority of people do actually look after their health. I mean, especially in, I suppose, today's world, you just think about, current, coronavirus. I mean, everyone is trying to stay at home, look after their health and manage their health.
It's positive.
And I actually think, taking the discovery experience, I mean, a lot of people actually do try and improve their health. You look at the Apple Watch and all things like that. People do try and improve their health.
And it kind of comes down to the original concept of if your original idea is so innovative that it makes so much sense, that the business can really, I mean, a great idea is very tricky to actually come up with. And if it makes so much sense that in fact you are right, factually, people have a better experience if they're healthier, then you'll be healthier, we'll be happier. Okay. So, and then going into what has been, I mean, this is a different direction, but what has been, from what you can remember, probably one of the toughest days you ever had to face in the office? Anything, just you were like, I don't want to go in today. I have to tell this person or this department or what, and how was that? Please share with us a little bit about the inner workings of dealing with the toughest day that you can remember in the office.
Geez, the toughest day.
Or like the toughest week.
Look, I mean, if I think about the current environment that we're in at the moment, okay, this is not necessarily perhaps the toughest day or toughest week, but let's call it a toughest period, okay? I suppose that the toughest period would be like the products that we sell in the UK are guaranteed products. So you take out a policy for, I don't know, £100 a month, and that's what you pay for the rest of your life, okay? Now, when we started selling those type of products, it's important to actually realize, okay, that you don't think guarantees are that important when you set out a policy, okay? You think that having these stupid guarantees, they'll never ever come to reality, okay? But what's actually happened in the UK since we started these policies? The interest rate environment has actually plummeted to, I mean, record low levels, and that has had an enormous impact on the products that we actually sold. So some products that we sold, that had this guarantee for 30 years, 40 years or whatever, all of a sudden we've got to make good on those guarantees. And ultimately that probably, that is really a very, very difficult decision to actually, to actually make. And yeah, I would probably say, yeah, that probably was the more difficult, periods that we actually went through. So sorry, you on mute?
I didn't say anything. I just said absolutely. Okay. So we got a few more minutes, and I always like to delve into the heart of the matter. Please share with me a little bit about your understanding of the South African gees. Now, the South African gees is, we are going to do brilliantly. We are motivated. We're a wonderful people. We are out of the box thinkers. And I believe that it's probably, if not the main reason, besides for the brilliant idea and the concept and the products, of why you as a business have done so well globally, is, a group of South Africans that have that gees to go out there and smash it. So please tell me a little bit about your understanding of the South African gees and maybe why it has added to your enormous success globally.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. I suppose, okay, my example obviously is the discovery example. So I'm going to focus on particularly that component. I would probably say our greatest success, we were probably a bunch of guys, more or less the same age group, okay, when we started the company. So I think we all came from perhaps similar backgrounds. We didn't come from money backgrounds or anything like that. We all worked our way up into our positions. I think that is important. And I suppose the second component of how we've done so well, and this perhaps is a South African component, okay? I think South Africans actually believe that they can actually do it. They can actually make a difference. I mean, I actually look at what's actually happened perhaps in, I don't know, other countries, the UK, the rest of the world. I actually don't think that they can actually make such a big difference to the environment. The insurance environment's been around for a long time, and I think they think it's impossible to actually change it. I think a lot of the people there think that it's more about why you can't do things, why you can't change the dread disease policy, the critical illness policy, why you can't link it to the state of your health, why it's got to be a fixed premium. And they're continuously saying why you can't do things, rather than, hell, man, I think this is what you can actually achieve by changing the world. And I actually think that that's really the big difference of the South African environment.
Very nice. Very nice. I think your Discovery is one of the most inclusive companies that promotes South Africa and South African professionals and really the South African culture. And, there's no doubt, just to finish off, that a lot of people that have watched Discovery grow have feel empowered. I mean, look at this amazing company. Look what they can do. We can achieve that. We can do that. And it's nice to see. There's no doubt when I look at your company, I think to myself, if they can do it, what's the problem? Obviously, a lot of effort and so on. But, the impossible is achievable.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Very nice. Well, Herschel, the Discovery champion, your business is an icon of success, and you're one of the original founders. I'm grateful to have spent some time with you. You've said some lovely things that I'm gonna sit and think about, and I thank you for spending your Thursday morning with me.
Okay, great.
I forgot to mention who I am. I am Adi Kaimowitz. We have a business called Virtual Actuary. And we are trying to reinvent the actuarial consulting space. And in my opinion, we've done brilliantly. We had a brilliant second year. We're now globalizing. And so that's our little story. That's the story for another day.
Okay, good.
Okay, Herschel,
right,
take care.
Great. Thanks very much.
Cheerio.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers, Bye.